Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Immigration Talk Show. I'm your host, Sam. And today we are back again with a very exciting webinar that is lined up just for you. Stay tuned and make sure to watch this session till the end. And before going ahead, let me read out this very important disclaimer. That is, by watching our videos, you agree and understand that the information shared by our experts and attorneys, including comments and replies from users, is not a legal advice. Use of information at your own risk. All right, friends, with that, once again, welcome back to Immigration Talk Show. I'm your host, Sam. And today we are live here again at 2 p.m. EDT on your platform, that is YouTube. We are also live on LinkedIn and on X. And do follow us on different social media platforms like LinkedIn, Facebook, X, and on Instagram as well. And lastly, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Immigration Talk Show. Okay, and with that, talking about today's session is a very important one, and that is about NIW Guide, National Interest Waiver. Yes, friends, and in this webinar, we are going to cover everything about National Interest Waiver. You know, what exactly does it mean, and also what's needed, what are some common missteps that most of the applicants do without even realizing it, and also how to get approved. And it is really going to be a very insightful session. And to make this webinar a more interesting one, I have a very honorable and a very, energetic guest over here with me. So without any further ado, let me welcome none other than attorney Poonam Gupta, who has over 25 years of experience in immigration law and also has a solid background in intellectual property and litigation. So, hi Poonam, and firstly, thank you so much for being here again and really looking forward to a great session.
Hey, Sam, thank you for having me, and I'm excited about today's session as well. This should be cover a lot of topics that anyone who's starting out on the NIW journey may have. So, really excited to get people's questions and what they want to delve into. So, let's get started.
Absolutely. I'm too really excited for this session. And friends, the best part of this webinar is you can also participate. You know, we are here live for an hour. So make best use of it. Ask as many questions as possible regarding NIW. And I'm sure Poonam is going to help you out. You know, she's going to simplify every doubt of yours in a very easy and in a very understandable way. And you can also get in touch with attorney Poonam Gupta, where you just have to click on the link that will be visible on the screen. Yeah, this is the one. You just have to visit this link and you'll get the contact details of attorney Poonam Gupta. Okay, with that, before delving into the topic, Poonam, if you can just give a sneak peek, you know, what our viewers can expect from today's webinar.
Sure. What we are hoping to discuss today is delve into the basics. What is NIW? What it entails, what the requirements are, what are some of the common missteps or misinterpretations, if you will, why it's a good idea to work with an attorney when filing this petition,
Mhm.
and what are some of the things that you should be looking out for when working with your recommenders. Letters of recommendation are an integral part of any application that claims you are special. It may be any talent visa category. And adding the proper context to each letter of recommendation is critical. And we will go into some of those aspects as well.
All right. That's great. Sounds to be really interesting and insightful as usual, Poonam, because your webinars are very, you know, eye-opening and lots of information. Okay,
Thank you.
and with that, let me go ahead with my very first question. So I think, Poonam, let's begin with the basics, you know, because NIW, people do understand what it is, but we really want to make it so easy, you know, for our beginners also, so that they can also understand what exactly is NIW and also how is it different from a regular EB2 green card. Please go ahead.
Sure. As our viewers may be aware, there are different employment-based sponsorship categories for a green card. The first preference is the one that obviously gets the first preference. And then there are second and the third preference employment-based categories.
Mhm.
The criteria for the employment-based second and third category, one of the key components of that is that an employer is required to conduct a labor market test and prove to the to the U.S. government that there are or no ready, willing, and able U.S. workers available for the job. That is the traditional EB2, EB3 green card categories. The distinction between EB2 and EB3 is primarily in the requirements for the position. Now, NIW, which is an acronym for National Interest Waiver, is a category that is permissible under the EB2 category. It is not an EB1 category, so it is not first preference, it is second preference, but it offers a lot of benefits. And what exactly is it? It is a category that permits anyone with or without a job offer to apply for the green card as long as their work will help the US national interest. If their work is so critical to the United States and its priorities, then there is a possibility that the person may be eligible for a national interest waiver. Whether that is possible or not depends on each individual profile and how their work relates to national interest. So, broad brushstroke, this is about whether or not your work is in the US national interest. You may be phenomenal on your own, but if you cannot show that your work is in the US national interest, then you may have a hard time filing for this category. There may be other categories that you may be better suited for, but national interest, the critical piece is the US national interest.
Yeah, it does. Okay, so Poonam, as you are, mentioning the term national interest, and I think it is the key word in NIW. So, can you clarify more about, what does this national interest means, and what are some other professions that people can get a better example? If you can share what national interest they have to prove in terms of getting NIW approved.
Sure. So prior to um, a decision, which is called the Matter of Dhanasar, it may be something that anyone who starts on their national interest waiver journey will hear about. And if you've not heard about it, that is the first case to look for. It's Matter of Dhanasar, and it lays out the roadmap for the US government on how to assess national interest and how to evaluate a national interest waiver petition. It has three different criteria. First is that a person, and again, because a green card application is a futuristic application, it is all about what is the person hoping to do or wanting to do. So, the person's proposed endeavor, what they want to do, number one, has to have substantial merit and national importance. So, it cannot be local, but it has to be national. Then, second, is that the person is well positioned to advance that endeavor, the proposed endeavor, as in they have the skills, the expertise, their past experience, achievements, and whatever they plan to do in detail is it all aligns and it's all synced together. And last but not least is the critical piece of the national interest waiver, which is that it is in the US interest to waive the requirements for a labor market test or a labor certification process. And because the work is so critical and so important to the US national interest, that is why. So, if those three prongs are met, the chances are pretty high. But there are other components to that aspect to determining whether or not a case qualifies for national interest. But those are the threshold criteria. And then how you present the case, how you present the national interest argument determines whether or not the case will be approved.
All right, that's great. Thank you so much, Poonam, for clarifying those three pointers. And I'm sure our viewers are understanding and keeping a note of all the pointers that till now we got to learn from Attorney Poonam Gupta. And friends, you can also go ahead and ask questions. I can see Ricky has so many questions. So thank you, Ricky, and I can see your hello just before our session got started. So thank you so much for waiting. And we will definitely take up your question. But before that, I do have some questions from my end. So stay tuned. And also, meanwhile, don't forget to subscribe to Immigration Talk Show. Okay, let me go ahead with next very important question, Poonam. That how does USCIS determine what counts as national interest? So, is there a standard or is it case by case?
So, as I mentioned before, the standard for national interest is the matter of Dhanasar,
Mhm.
and it is a case by case assessment using that standard. Excuse me.
Sure. I think that's okay, Poonam. If you want to take a short break, we can take for your comfort. And we can continue after 5 minutes. I think till then you will be okay. So, friends, don't go anywhere, and we will be just right back. And Ricky, we will be taking back your questions again. So, stay tuned, friends, and we are here. And definitely, it's a very interactive session, and lots of viewers have also joined us. Just give us 2 to 3 minutes, and we'll be right back here. After that time, Poonam will be here with another very energetic voice. So keep watching Immigration Talk Show and we will be right back. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Immigration Talk Show. This was just a short and a quick break. And I think now Attorney Poonam Gupta is fine. So, hi, Poonam, and I hope you're fine right now. I'm so sorry you were mute. Yeah, please go ahead again.
I said, thank you. I'm good. Let's continue with where we were. So, we were talking about how does USCIS determine what counts as national interest if there is a standard or it's case by case. So, I would say it's both. There is a standard. The standard is Matter of Dhanasar, and it is case by case in the sense that each case has to meet the three-prong test set in that case, and whether or not how the individual meets those prongs, meets those criteria, will determine whether or not the petition can be approved.
Mhm.
As I mentioned before, the three prongs are the proposed endeavor or the proposed work that the person wants to do in the US has substantial merit and national importance. The person is well positioned to advance that endeavor, proposed endeavor, as in they have the skills, the education, expertise, and achievements, if any, and a detailed plan for future work. And last but not least, that the work is beneficial to the US in that it is worthwhile for the US to waive the labor condition requirement.
Mhm. Okay. And what about, Poonam? Because most of the time we have been hearing that advanced degree, if somebody has, then it's a very obvious reason that they can strengthen the NIW. But
Mhm.
what about apart from advanced degrees? I mean, what are some other less obvious factors that can also strengthen the NIW case?
There are lots of things that someone, besides an advanced degree, can strengthen the case. Um, some of the factors include what is the impact of their work? So, if their work has influenced additional research, for instance, or has led to new policies or new technologies, all of that is, that it, as long as they can show the nexus between their work and the subsequent changes that have been adopted,
Mhm.
that is powerful.
Yeah.
Then, if their work aligns with critical technologies or the work that is in national interest, then that is a critical piece of showing that their work is in the US national interest. Having commercial success is always beneficial because if your work was adopted commercially and was successful, that creates a different level of credibility, that builds credibility. Then, if you are, sorry, if others in your field uh, seek your expertise and consider you as an expert in your field, then that also adds value that establishes your credibility and goes to the prong of that you're well suited to pursue the proposed endeavor.
Mm-hmm.
Then, if you have publications, again, none of these per se are official requirements. And you do not need all of them. You can have one or none of them. There's no requirement that all of these are required, right?
Mm-hmm.
You could present at conferences, you could have published media about you. There could be any number of things that can help you build your case. But these are just some of the things that we've seen that help. Again, how the case is presented makes it difference.
Of course, it does. Okay. And I think, Poonam, we do have a lot of questions from our viewers. So, okay, let's start with Ricky because Ricky was the first one who commented. So,
Sure.
Ricky, I think you're not, new to Immigration Talk Show. You have attended some of our webinars. But in case if you are watching Attorney Poonam Gupta for the very first time, then the best part of this webinar is you can also get in touch with her. You just have to click on the link. I'm sorry, you just have to visit on the link that will be visible on the screen, and there you'll get the contact details of Attorney Poonam Gupta. Yes, this one. Okay, and with that, Ricky, let me take up your question. And you are saying the NIW processing time for the Nebraska center is 65 months as per USCIS website. So can you give some idea on the typical processing time that you are seeing to receive the I-140 petition results?
Um, Again, these are typical processing times for the government. If you apply under premium processing, then it is 45 business days to get a response. Again, depending on each person's situation, sometimes it is advisable to file under premium processing, other times it's not. The biggest determining factor in most cases is whether or not that person has a priority date. If they do not have a priority date, then in my view, it is always beneficial to file under premium processing so
Okay.
that once it's approved, you can be assured of your place in the green card queue.
Okay, and I think this is the continuation of Ricky's question. He's saying that my NIW I-140 petition was filed by my employer. If approved, can the NIW be carried over when changing employers in a similar but not exactly identical domain? And also, in continuation to the previous query, if the employer lays off, then what happens to the pending new NIW I-140 petition? Yeah.
Ricky, thank you for those questions. First off, I want to say NIW is one of the few categories that permits you to self petition, as in, you do not need an employer to sponsor you. And I apologize, my voice is breaking. I don't know, some why, but I hope you can hear me clearly.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so, if your employer is sponsoring you, then like any other employer sponsored petition, you are subject to the employer. And if you're laid off, unfortunately, while your petition's pending, you lose that petition. There is no way to save that petition. If you want your employer to sponsor you or cover the costs, then my recommendation is to request your employer to cover the cost of it as a self petition, not as an employer sponsored petition. This way, even if you are laid off, the petition will survive.
Okay.
And then I think the first part of Ricky's question was switching employers. um, Switching employers, the the time when this becomes relevant is at the time when you're filing, if you have an I-1 approved I-140 petition, then the time this becomes relevant is when you file for adjustment of status in the United States. And at that time, you have to be able to show that the work that you're doing is aligned with what the petition was approved for. Is it same or substantially similar? Does not have to be identical,
Mm-hmm.
but it has to be substantially similar. And it's a legal test that requires an analysis and analysis of what the two jobs are. It's hard to explain what that is here.
Okay. That's okay. And I think we do have lots of questions here. And let's take up Seema's comment here. So hi Seema, and thank you so much for your comment. She's saying that I'm a biomedical researcher working on rare diseases. My work isn't widely published yet, but it's gaining traction. So do I realistically stand a chance with NIW, or is it too early to apply?
Thanks, Seema, for that question, and it's great that you brought it up. Your work does not need to be widely published. What you need to be able to show is that whatever rare disease you're working on is something that the US cares about. Have they, is it in the national, on the national priority list? Is it a set of diseases that the US government has allocated significant funding for? And things like that.
Mhm.
And what are your credentials? How well, how well are you able to execute on what you say you plan to do? So it is possible you may be ready to apply for NIW, but you need more. I need more information than is possible to gather here.
All right, that's okay. So, Seema, I hope if you're watching us right now, then please share us more information regarding your status, and that will be easier for Poonam to simplify with your query. And also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Immigration Talk Show because we do come up with lots of immigration updates and also great live webinars here. Okay, let me go ahead with one of our viewer who has joined us on LinkedIn, Chaitali Rajput. So she is saying that have you noticed any shifts in adjudication trends in 2025? Yes.
The adjudication, thanks, Chaitali, for joining. The adjudication trends have shifted because it's a different government and the government's priorities are changing. But the basic tenets and the basic requirements remain the same. Everything has to be aligned with the US national interest. If you're able to show that your work is aligned with the US national interest, then it doesn't matter whether you applied in 24 or will apply in 25. Your petition will get approved. But if you are filing a petition that is just throwing anything at the wall to see if it sticks, the chances are it will get denied.
Mhm. Okay. And I think Chetali has got your answer. So, Chetali, if you still have any follow-up question, right, then please go ahead and put up your question on the comment section. Until then, friends, we have completed, first hour of our session, and we will be continuing back again after just a short break. So I think let's take a short break. Until then, go ahead, put as many questions as possible, and we will take all of them in the next half hour of our session. So it's a very interesting session and a very insightful one. So don't go anywhere, friends. We'll be here just after a short break. So do join us again on Immigration Talk Show. It's me, Sam, with my guest, a very special guest here, Tony Poonam Gupta. So go ahead and post questions and don't go anywhere. Keep watching Immigration Talk Show. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Immigration Talk Show. It's me, Sam, and today I have joined by none other than attorney Poonam Gupta. And the topic of our discussion is NIW Guide, what's needed, common missteps, and also how to get approved. And with that, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Immigration Talk Show. We are also live on YouTube, LinkedIn, and on X. So do join us from these many platforms. And also, you can follow us on different social media platforms like LinkedIn, Facebook, X, and on Instagram as well. Okay, and with that, let us continue with the questions that I have prepared for you, Poonam, and I hope you're doing great now. So
Yes, thank
let's
you.
begin. Okay, all right. All right. So we do have covered, few questions from our viewers, and let me go ahead with my another question, and this is regarding what are some of the most common mistakes, Poonam, that applicants make when filing for NIW?
I think the biggest mistake people make when filing for NIW is not focusing on the national interest. As I mentioned, that the three prongs
Mm-hmm.
for an NIW petition are that the person's work has, or proposed work, has substantial merit and it's of national importance. Two, that they're qualified to do what they said they will be doing. And three, that their work is in the national interest.
Mm-hmm.
Most people talk about how great they are. And they have this many publications, they have a PhD, they have this many papers, and they talk endlessly about how good they are, how great they are. And what they forget that the NIW is not the process or the forum for that. And I see Jadav has a question similar to what we're talking about. And the critical reason for in applicants is just harping on about themselves. The NIW is about themselves, but only one third of the way. Of the three criteria, only one third of the petition should be about them. The other two thirds should be about why what they're wanting to do is meritorious. And then the third piece should be why is it so important to the US and the US national interest that they should bypass the labor certification or the labor market test process?
Okay, and as you said that Jadhav is also having similar questions, so let's take his question. Jadhav is saying that I have seen people say they got denied even though they had PhD and publications. Yes, and what's usually the real reason behind such denials? Is it the way the petition was framed? That's
Thanks,
right.
Jadav, for that question. And absolutely, it is how the petition was framed. As I said, if individuals are only talking about themselves, that they have a PhD and they have this many publications and so on, but not enough or at all sometimes about the national interest, then you're not meeting the criteria that are required for national interest. So it is critical to focus on the criteria. And the USCIS website is a great website which gives you outlines literally everything you need to know on what is required for that. So I highly encourage anyone who's looking to start learning about this topic to start with the USCIS website.
Absolutely, and that's a great advice. And I hope, friends, you can go ahead with that advice and Jadhav too. Okay, CR is here. So, hi, CR, and let us know, from where you are watching us. Okay, CR is saying, how much weight does USCIS place on letters of recommendation and what weakens their value? Yeah.
Um, Thank you for joining and asking this great question. Um, USCIS places a tremendous amount of weight on the letters of recommendation, while USCIS sees evidence and documentation from pretty much every field there is. They're not experts in the field. Most USCIS officers barely have a bachelor's degree. Do they understand every aspect of the corporate world, of the various fields? No. And the role of the letters of recommendation is to educate them and tell them about one, what is the field? Two, how good of um, of a person that the applicant is in their field, what value do they bring to the field, how their work is in the national interest. What weakens their value is when they don't address any of the specific criteria. If the letter says, "Dear officer, I am such and such. I know this person because he's my cousin. He's great. You should absolutely, I strongly support this person's candidacy." Or, "I am this person's best friend. I've known them since childhood. They are very diligent, they're hardworking, they know everything, and they are phenomenal. You should approve their NIW." That letter of recommendation is garbage. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
What that letter of recommendation needs is substance. It needs credible information on what is it that this person will do, credible information on how their work is of great importance, and how their work is of great importance to the United States. So that those are absolutely critical pieces of a letter of recommendation.
absolutely. And that's wonderful, Poonam, the way you have explained, because letter of recommendation is also a very major role in terms of NIW. And, people they misunderstood these terms and they just think that letter of recommendation means so many good pointers about the applicant. But it's actually not
Sure.
about that. It's about the credible thing, how you can make them trust that, yes, you are the right candidate and you can really do something great in terms of national interest. Okay, so that's great. And let me go ahead with Neerav's question here. So, hi, Neerav, and thank you so much for your comment. Neerav is asking, what are the implications of the matter of Dhanasar and decision on NIW petitions, particularly with regards to the national interest standard? Okay.
Neerav, thank you for that question. The national interest standard is the most critical aspect of an NIW petition. Matter of Dhanasar simply codified and simply clarified what the three criteria are. As
Okay.
the title of the category suggests, it is a national interest waiver, which means the petition has to, there is no question about it, absolutely has to establish that that person's work is in the national interest. If it is not in the national interest, then it doesn't qualify for NIW. It does not. If it's not in the national interest, let me just spell it. If it is not in the national interest, then by definition, it does not qualify for a national interest waiver. The title of the category itself is explanatory. And
Mhm.
if anyone who's looking to file an NIW petition, the first thing they have to articulate is how is their work in the national interest. If they cannot articulate that, then they should not think about national interest waiver, but they could think of some of the other categories. And this is where working with an attorney comes in handy because they can look at your complete profile and help you strategize on the best path forward.
Absolutely. And I would say that, also Poonam, not taking help of any attorney is also one of the common mistakes that applicants do. So, friends, I think without any further ado, you should directly go ahead and get in touch with attorney Poonam Gupta. She's here. She has over 25 years of experience and great in what she do. So go ahead and visit the link that is on this screen, and you can get the contact details of her and reach out to her, ask any query, ask any doubt that is bothering you, in your immigration journey. Okay, and let's move ahead with Karthik's question. Okay, Neera, we have taken. Karthik is also here. Yeah. Karthik is asking that how can petitioners in fields such as arts, humanities, or social sciences demonstrate national interest in their work, given that these fields may not have the same level of quantifiable impact as STEM fields? Yeah.
Sure. Karthik, great question. It is permissible for individuals to show that their work is in the national interest. And it's not just STEM fields, even though it may seem like those are the best suited for it, that is actually not true. It is anyone who can show the national interest. It just depends on what area of work you're in. So I'll give you an example. I got an NIW approved for a construction manager. No one would think a construction manager who helps you know, build and maintain buildings, their work is in the national interest. But their
Okay.
national interest was because their work, or they were a construction manager for um, affordable housing. Affordable housing is a critical aspect of US society, and it's weaved into the fabric of the US society. There's a critical need, and establishing that person worked in that area, there was substantial merit to that. He had the skills and the experience and the certifications and the letters to support that he could do what he was saying he was going to do, and that his work was in the national interest. So I have been successful in filing for NIWs outside of STEM fields. Obviously, it depends on what the field is and what the national interest is, but it's possible. It's not just STEM fields that qualify.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much, Poonam, for your answer. And I hope, Karthik, you got your answer. In case if you still have any follow-up question or query, then please go ahead and let us know in the comment section. Let me go. Okay, Ricky has another question, and he's asking from you, Poonam, that Attorney Poonam, do you provide G28 representation? If yes, then what is the procedure for the same?
Ricky, as part of my representation of my clients, yes, I do include a G28 where I am a G28 for those that do not know. It's a form by the US government where the person or the attorney indicates that they are representing the individual in their application. So whenever I take on a case, I do include the Form G28 to indicate that I'm representing as an attorney that person or that company.
Okay, that's great. Let's go ahead with Kritika's comment here. So, Kritika is saying that my NIW application is denied due to a lack of evidence demonstrating national interest. However, subsequent to the denial, I received a prestigious award. So, can I submit this new evidence as a part of a motion to reopen NIW case? What are the chances of success?
So, Kritika, thank you for sharing your journey. And what my question to you is twofold. When did you receive the denial? And there is no motion to reopen, if you will. There's a motion for reconsideration after the denial. And that window is only open for a 30-day period. And the basis for that reconsideration has to be the evidence that was already submitted, that the government did not look at everything,
Mhm.
and that is why. In your case, you say that you received a prestigious award. Was that award going to help establish that your work is in the national interest? If not, then you're still at the same place. But if that award shows and can establish that your work is in the national interest, then I think a better position may be for you to resubmit that application with the new evidence and presenting a much more robust argument for the national interest rather
Yeah.
than trying to reopen with new evidence because new evidence is not permitted at that stage.
Okay. All right. So thank you so much, Poonam, for taking up, Kritika's question again. And thank you, Kritika, for your question. And, in case, I hope this is a bit clear now, you can't reopen. And any follow-up question, if you still have in your mind, then please go ahead and put them on the comment section. And we will definitely try our best to
Mhm.
solve that out. Okay, Sonia is here. And Sonia is saying if I'm missing peer reviewed publications but have solid recommendation letters and media coverage, is that enough or is that considered a weak case? Yes, Poonam.
Sonia, thank you for that question, and I appreciate everyone jumping in and asking such fantastic questions. So, thank you. Um, Sonia, the critical piece is whether or not your case is has substantial proof of national interest. And a quick plug-in, if I may, if you go to my website, there is a tool on my website which is a free AI-based visa assessment tool that allows people to upload their resumes or whatever position documents you may have and get an assessment for free, no obligation from any person. No one will chase you to hire anyone, but you will get clarity on whether or not your case is eligible for an NIW, EB1, O1, or the like. So I would encourage anyone who's going down this journey to at least consider that. As I said, it's a free tool, it doesn't cost you anything. You're not, your information will be visible to me and me only. But I will not contact you to chase you that you should do this. That is entirely your choice on what you want to do. I have heard from many clients
Mhm.
that, and in fact, as part of my consultation, I request that everyone take this assessment because it helps my clients or prospective clients get clarity on how well they're prepared and how well they've presented their information and what are some of the weak points. That assessment provides them with the breakdown of what criteria they meet, what is acceptable, and what is a weak and where they can bolster it. So, highly encourage. Sonia, back to your question. You have peer reviewed publications, great. You have solid recommendations and media coverage, that is phenomenal. But I don't know whether your case, one, what is your area of work? What's your background? And whether your work is in the national interest, the three critical pieces for national interest. So you may have a solid case for an NIW, or you may have a solid case for an EB1A. I don't know. So that is for you. We would need a lot more information than just that to tell you whether or not you have a good case or a weak case.
That's right. Okay, so Sonia, thank you so much. And Poonam, to you also. I mean, that was really a great advice, a big help that you are saying that that's a free assessment and viewers can go ahead and check it. So that's really sweet of you. And I'm sure, our viewers will be feeling so glad that they can have at least a platform where they can have a real assessment without any pressure, without any doubt. So that's really great. And I'm sure our viewers will go ahead and, try to utilize this platform as much as they can. Okay, Ansa is also here. So, hi Ansa, and thank you so much for your participation. Ansa is saying, would a clinical mental health counselor with an independent license have enough strong evidence to support their argument for NIW?
And so thank you for that question. And I think this is an example of people not in the STEM field who may be eligible for an NIW. Um, Mental health is a huge, there is a huge need for mental health. So I think there is substantial merit. The first criteria for NIW is substantial merit in the endeavor. I think it definitely meets that criteria. Whether or not you can substantiate that you have the skills, I mean, you have a license, so you have the threshold for that, but how far can you go above that is it will depend on your particular facts. And whether this is in the national interest, I have not done my research on this particular area. I've not yet had a client in this area. So I cannot tell you whether or not, at least not off the top of my head, but if you contact me separately, and if you can show me some evidence where it is aligned with the US government priorities, I think there is a strong case to be made potentially for this NIW.
That's right. Okay, Ansa. So I think you can go ahead and get in touch with attorney Poonam Gupta, and she will definitely help you personally. This is the link. You just have to visit this link, and you'll get the contact details of her. And reach out to her right now, not later, but just right now. Okay, Ricky is here with another question. So let's take his question back. Ricky is asking for an employer submitted NIW I-140 petition, which is pending. Can I submit the same petition as is by myself under premium processing, as employer isn't willing to do premium? Can you help with it? Yes, Poonam.
Sure, Ricky, by all means, reach out to me through my website, schedule a consultation, and we can take it from there. But just taking a step back and helping our viewers understand, your employer may file a petition under regular processing, but if you want to file premium processing, you can offer to pay for premium processing fees. There is no prohibition that prevents the employee to pay for premium processing. Sometimes it's a function of the employer being sensitive to costs, but it is your life and you have the right to make the decision on whether or not you want to file for premium processing. So, by all means, you can offer to pay, or if you want to self petition and want my assistance, absolutely happy to help.
Okay, that's great. And thank you so much, Ricky. Today you have been one of the most asking question viewer and active viewer. Okay, thank you so much, Ricky, for your question. And let's move ahead with Jay's question. So, hi Jay, and he is asking on behalf of my friend. He has been working on a project that has significant national interest implications, but the project is still confidential and has not been publicly disclosed. So, he's asking how can he demonstrate the national interest implications of their work without revealing confidential information? That's a
So,
yeah.
Jay, thank you for that question. I have to take a step back and ask you, how do you know the project has significant national interest? There are lots of projects that are never made public. The companies do what they need to do, they do their work, but they do not necessarily publicly disclose or take out a banner saying this is the project we're working on. It is possible to make the argument that by explaining what the work is, what the national interest is, obviously the company or that individual would have to disclose the confidential information to the government, but it is possible to ask the government to not reveal it under a Freedom of Information Act action, for instance, by any party. Um, I've made those requests on a regular basis for my clients, especially corporate clients,
Mhm.
where they may be revealing some trade secrets and the like to establish their case. And we have been successful in requesting that the government keep that information confidential. So it is possible, but obviously there is a nuance to it and there is a process for it, but very much possible.
Okay, all right. And thank you so much, Poonam, for your questions. I mean, for your answers, and taking all these viewers' questions and my questions very patiently. But before letting you go, as it's almost 1 hour, I would just like to go ahead with one last question. And after this, I think we can wrap up our session. So this is very important and a very demanding question that our viewers ask from us. That is self-petitioning for NIW riskier than going through an employer? What do you have to say on this?
It depends, Sam, on what the area is. In
Okay.
some areas, using the employer establishes a basic level of credibility that you may not be able to establish yourselves.
Hmm.
But in most cases, in my view, self petitioning is preferable than going through an employer for two reasons. One,
Okay.
as Ricky mentioned in some of his questions earlier, if the employer is filing that NIW, they control your petition. They control whether or not it can be premium processed. They control when they want to withdraw it. You have no control over it. But
Yeah.
if you self petition, then sometimes the employers are willing to cover the cost because you're such a valuable employee, even as a self petition. Other
Hmm.
times, employees will go out and cover the cost themselves because the value and the freedom that an NIW self petition gives is worth way more than a few $1,000s.
Wow.
I mean, in the grand scheme of things, if you look at it,
Hmm.
you may spend a few $1,000s on filing your NIW self petition, but you will not ever be dependent on any employer for your green card.
Yeah.
To me, that freedom has no value. You could be laid off and not have to worry about your green card. You could switch jobs and not have to worry about your green card. Your spouse can work as soon as your NIW is petitioned if you're an H-1B, right? You could start your own company and self sponsor your H-1B.
Wow.
But can you go down that path and get that freedom through an employer based petition? I don't think so. So,
Hmm.
my advice to my clients is always, where possible, file as a self petition because you want to be in charge and you want to take charge of your immigration journey. You don't want to be dependent on anyone else. So, that's all.
All right. That was really great and sounds so fascinating and like great, Poonam, when you speak about all these facts and put up all these insights in front of us, it's really great. So I would say again, thank you so much. And it feels so great as always to have these great sessions with you. I would love to have, these sessions every week. It just depends upon your availability. And you have seen how much great engagement we got again, in today's webinar. So it's really great. And once again, a huge thank you to you, Poonam, for being here, supporting us and sharing these great insights, expert advice with us, and being really sweet and extremely helpful to all our audience. So, thank you so much, and it was really our honor to have a show with you. Looking again to have a next show and soon, just after the next week.
Sure. Thank you, Sam. And my goal is to help people. That is the whole purpose of why I'm here, to help educate people. My LinkedIn posts are, again, in that vein. if I have been able to give even one person the clarity that they needed in this process, then it's been successful for me. So I'm glad I was able to answer so many questions and help so many people. I hope I was helpful. So thank you for that opportunity. And thank you all for joining and chiming in and asking your questions. Good luck with your journeys.
All right. Thank you so much, Poonam. And this is also our goal, friends, to make you guys educate more and more about the topic and to help each one of you regarding your immigration journey. So, with that, Poonam, it was really our honor to have a show with you. And I'm sure, that we will try to educate more and make, I would say, spread awareness regarding immigration journeys and, whatever the complexities that they are facing right now. So, I hope to see you soon. Until then, good day and thank you for joining us again.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Okay, friends, so this was the end of our session, and we have covered a lot of questions over here. And our friends have also joined us. So before leaving, I would just say that, Ricky, Seema, Kritika, Karthik, Sonia, Jay, and so many others, if I haven't taken their name, please go ahead and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Immigration Talk Show. It's me, Sam, and I love to have these webinars. And again, we are having a lot of webinars lined up on upcoming weeks. So don't forget to hit the bell icon again because you'll be getting notification. And yeah, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to Immigration Talk Show. And do join us here on this platform. Also, do follow us on different social media like LinkedIn, Facebook, X, and on Instagram as well. So, with that, this was the end of our session. Thank you so much for joining us. See you next time. Till then, take care and good luck, everyone.